Hi there, Hemant. I'm very happy to see that you're writing again and you've sent us something for your IELTS preparation. Let's take a look at what you wrote. It's the German school subject, so let's see what you said. Okay, the pie chart represents the popularity of different school subjects in Germany during the year 2017. The information is provided in percentages. Okay. In Germany, half of the students study PE, history, and IT. The largest portion of the chart was occupied by PE, physical education. Also, maximum students in the school chosen this subject more than others at 22.9%. PE was followed closely by history with 22.4% of students. In contrast, the IT subject was the least popular among students in school. Only 3.7% of students shown their interest. Okay, so there are a few things that I want to cover here. I see that what you did is you talked about the highs, essentially, and you talked about the lows. That's how you decided to organize this paragraph, and that's all right. So let's talk about it, though, because there were a couple of mistakes, both in terms of grammar, which you already mentioned that you know that it's an area that needs some work, but there's also another area that was a little inaccurate, basically. So let's look at the first sentence. You said, half of the students study PE, history, and IT. That's not entirely true. It's not that half the students study these subjects. We don't know how many students study these subjects. What we know is that half of the students prefer these subjects, because this is about student preferences. It's not about what classes, what classes they take, or yes, I take these classes, but I don't take this class, or because I prefer this, I take it, but do you know what I'm saying? So it's wrong to say that half of the students study PE, history, and IT. That's wrong. It should be half of the students surveyed half of the students surveyed cited a preference, or mentioned a preference, or indicated a preference for PE, history, and IT. All right, that would be accurate. And then the rest of the problems that I found were basically grammatical, so let's look at those. The largest portion of the chart was occupied by PE. That's also a little inaccurate, because it's like you're saying the largest portion of the chart means, like, I don't know, like 80% or anything above 50% is the largest portion. So I don't really like that expression because it's not particularly precise. It's not really telling us anything. So I think you really essentially could have left that out. I would have preferred something else. So how about something like PE accounted for the largest percentage of preference among the German school subjects at 22.9%. That's all you had to say here. And then you could have said it was, and I didn't like the other sections here. PE was it was closely followed closely by history with 22.4% of students. Full stop. Okay, and then capitalize your in. In contrast, IT without this the. So just IT was the least popular among students in school, as or since only 3.7% of students showed their preference. Okay. You could say interest, but preference is the most accurate word here. Okay, the other half of the students in Germany preferred maths, physics, biology, and geography. It was seen that maths was more popular with students than any of the remaining subjects in the group at 19.5%. Full stop. Not only, let's try it again. Not only were maths popular, but physics were too, with 18.1% of students in Germany. Okay, that's fine. The remaining subjects, biology and geography, were both equally popular, but biology was more preferred with a difference of 0.6% of students. Overall, the physical education subject, and we don't say that, we just say physical education, was the most popular, and IT was the least popular in schools in Germany during the year 2017. All right, that's fine. Basically, I'm finding that it's the grammar that's the issue here. So hopefully some of this feedback, some of these corrections will help you kind of realize what some of these grammatical errors are so that you can go about correcting them and avoiding these kinds of errors. All right? Okay, but you definitely pinpointed the right information. I liked what you did with this, you know, half, like doing the half, and then that was a good way to organize it. I liked that. That was smart. Okay, so good. Let's move on to your task 2 here. This is about independence on the internet and phone. Okay, fine. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether the overdependence of people on the internet and mobile phones is beneficial, because it's one thing, the overdependence is beneficial or not. Some believe that the benefits of the internet and mobile phones have far more impact on people's lives than their drawbacks, and I strongly agree. This essay will argue both sides using examples from the Indian government and Oxford University to demonstrate points and prove arguments. Okay, I do have a question mark here, but I'm hoping that you can solve my questions in your body paragraph. So let's see what you said. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that supports the idea of stealing personal data on the internet and mobiles. The general reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, lack of awareness towards cybersecurity, such as weak, W-E-A-K, password backup on the cloud, and no antivirus protection. Secondly, lack of specialization system and technician to effectively detect cyber hacking. For example, recent empirical research by the Indian government demonstrated that there was an increase in cyber attacks upon following old internet security protocol. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that overdependence on the internet led to several consequences. All right, what's happening here is just really a lot of grammatical mistakes, a lot. So I want to talk about them, okay? Let's see. And I didn't really agree with the way you went about your first sentence here, your topic sentence in your paragraph. There's evidence that supports the idea of stealing. What are you trying to say here? That there is support for stealing data? That's not what you mean, and I know that's not what you mean. So you've taken this expression out of context and you've used it incorrectly. So let's talk about how to write this better. So let's try it like this. On the one hand, there is ample evidence that supports that our over-reliance on the internet can lead to personal data theft. Full stop. This is what you mean, okay? So you can see it's a sentence that's written rather differently. Let's move on. The general reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, there is a lack of awareness towards cybersecurity, such as weak passwords, backup on the cloud, and no antivirus protection. Okay, fine. Secondly, there is often, you don't want to be so general, lack of. First of all, grammatically it's not correct. But you also don't want to be so general, just saying that there's a lack. Well, no. There can be, or there tends to be, or there is a widespread lack. But that you don't want to be so absolute to say that everybody has this lack, okay? All right, so secondly, there is a general lack of I don't like this lack again, actually. You know what? Because you just wrote lack here. So, secondly, specialization systems and technicians to effectively detect cyber hacking are often absent from, I don't know, society, or often lacking from people's, I don't know, something. But let me think, what else? Secondly, I don't even know what you mean here by specialization here, to be honest with you. All right, let's move on. For example, recent empirical research by the Indian government demonstrated that there was an increase in cyber attacks upon following old internet security protocols with an S. Therefore, it is clear that overdependence on the internet led to severe consequences. So basically, you needed a full stop here, by the way. I felt like it was a little underdeveloped. You had these ideas, and I thought they were interesting ideas, but you really needed to flush them out a little bit more. So every time you write a sentence, first of all, I really would like to see you following the template a little bit better. Okay? So I want to see a main idea. I want to see why you think that main idea is, supports your argument. So explain it to us. All right, and then go to your next main idea and then explain it again. Why does this support what you're telling us? All right, so why does this support that our overdependence on the internet has led to, cyber hacking and whatever? Okay, so review a little bit how the template works and also our essays to see what's missing from the development here. Let's move on. On the other hand, although there is a case for hacking on the internet, the impact of the internet on the environment, public, and business cannot be overstated. This is largely because of connection with different people that the internet provides at any point of time for the personal as well as professional front, which also leads to the reduction in usage of transportation. That was a long sentence. Okay. For example, if people start doing work from home using the internet, there could be extreme consequences such as improved, with a D, air quality index. Consequently, it is possible to state beyond doubt that the large benefits of the internet and phone outweigh with not overweight. Overweight means heavy. Overweight means you weigh too much. You want outweigh the drawbacks. Okay, now here, again, I thought you had some interesting ideas. I just don't believe that you developed them enough. So again, let's talk about this. Remember that we're talking about dependence, being dependent on the internet and phone. And this is the part that everyone gets wrong. What they do instead is they talk about why the internet is good, why the internet is bad. But this is far more specific. It's asking about our dependence and if our dependence is good or bad. So you're basically saying to us here that our dependence is good. Now, the first thing is you talked about the impact on the environment. So did you support that? Yeah, you said improved air quality. So great. Then you talked about the impact on public and business. So you talked here then, so look what we said, the public and business. All right, well, great. How does this dependence help the public and business? You said that we can connect with different people for personal and professional front. Okay, great. Well, what does that mean? How is that good? How is that important on the personal and the professional front? Because you've already said the reduction in usage of transportation. So that's another thing in favor of the environment. But what about professionally and personally? You're the person who wrote these, and so you have to support them. If there's an idea that does not help your essay, that you do not plan to support, then don't write it. You really do need to support anything that you state here. Okay, yeah, so then you say the large benefits, but you didn't really talk to us about large benefits. You talked about basically working from home, and then we're supposed to assume that we're dependent on the internet if we're working from home. That was another thing that I thought you should have really said here. You said if people start doing work from home using the internet, talk to me about dependence. All right, talk to me about, that people's careers are dependent on having this immediate communication all around the world, and this has allowed really for borders to just disappear and time differences to not matter, and things happen instantaneously. You don't have to wait for mail anymore. You don't have to fax things. Just with a simple email, your job is done. And so this has really allowed a major streamlining of business. Also, you could talk about how the internet has really allowed us to cut down on usage of paper. All right, we don't mail things anymore. We don't fax things anymore. We have, electronic copies of things, and we send them to whomever, wherever. And so there's a lot less usage of paper, which is wonderful. So this is how you could talk about this dependence on the internet and phone as being something positive. All right, but I feel like here you were really close, but you didn't quite get it because you didn't really cover the things that you said you were going to cover. Let's move on. From the arguments S and examples given, I firmly believe that benefits of the internet are more effective than the drawbacks. And remember, we're not talking about benefits of the internet, but benefits of our dependence on the internet. You absolutely have to include that. It is predicted that the internet will definitely rapidly evolve in the future with better cybersecurity systems. Okay, that's fine. So you should have a really good idea here about what was strong and what needed work. Think about these things. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Go ahead and correct these, and let's see another set of essays from you. Okay, good luck.